Yeah. I should have had a cha-ching sound effect on my shit. All right, man. It's your boy Miles Cunningham. Lucario taking care of some business today. So it's just me and the homie Rashidi from RKT Appraisals. You know what I'm saying? And today's topic is, we're asking the question, what is your time worth? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us, we're in certain situations where we're literally trading our time for money. So this is a valid question. You got to ask yourself, what the hell is your time worth? You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to the government for bringing up the minimum wage to 15 an hour. You know what I'm saying? They should have bended that shit. Truthfully, the minimum wage should be like $25, $30 an hour. Mm-hmm. And that's probably since 2007 that was supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? If we're being truthfully honest, and not that I'm on some what's the word, socialist shit, or no what's the communist shit? I ain't no communist. I still believe in capitalism. But if we look at inflation and we look at the type of, like, the level of money for the top 1% compared to the rest of us, like, if we comparatively speaking, the equivalence doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. You understand? Minimum wage really should be somewhere between $20 and $30. Like, that's facts. But that's a whole nother situation. But the point of the matter is, we're out here trading our time for money, and we have to be careful because it's only 24 hours in a day. Mm-hmm. So if you're telling me that every hour of your life is worth a certain amount, that means there's a finite amount of money that you can actually make with your time. You understand? So the trick is to figure out a way that you could put in a certain amount of time working and then make money continuously after that. You know what I'm saying? But I probably said too much, but I'm gonna let my man Rashidi take it away because he came up with the topic. So Rashidi, man, what you got to say about that?
Yeah, no, Miles, you touched on some good points, man, because that really comes down to what you said. It actually ties in everything we were talking about today, where, minimum wage and all that type of stuff, you always kind of behind the eight ball. So right. Like you said, now they raised the minimum wage to $15 in places like New York and stuff like that, to $15 an hour. So it's catching up a little bit. But with that said, you're still underpaid. You know what I mean? A person making $15 an hour, you can do some things, but you can't do much in terms of growth, especially if that's just you on that one income. That's why it is a good topic. Like, what's your time worth? A lot of time people, like you said, trading time for money. So you're in a situation where, you're making $15 an hour based on your lifestyle. What can that do for you? Right. You know what I mean? Like, how's that $15? How much can you stretch it? What can you do with that $15? Where can it actually take you? How long is it going to take you? So you're trading time for money. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where you find yourself in situations where you're in that scenario where $15 an hour, you're by yourself, you're a single person, or whatever the case is, and you try to do a whole bunch of overtime and all that things of that nature. And then after you go over a certain amount of hours, they even kill you more in taxes.
Right.
So it's one of those things where, like, what is your time really worth? When you find yourself in that situation where you make $15 an hour, you do some overtime, you want to put 20 hours in a week. But once you hit that 18, 17 hours extra overtime, they kill you in taxes. Now they're taking 40%, 45% out in taxes. So now you're losing even more money, but you're putting more time. So you really got to, like, at that point, start looking at your life. You know what I mean? Start looking at your life in the sense of what you want to do. Like I said, where you want to go. Is it enough money to get you to pay your bills? And how much you're losing? Because in that particular type of situation, if you make $15 an hour, you do all that overtime, and you can't spend no time with your kids, or you can't spend no time going out on dates, enjoying your own natural life. Yeah, that's a problem. You know what I mean? And you're not even really spending the right amount of, not making enough money to warrant the time that you're losing. You know what I mean? And that's when you got to sit down and reevaluate your life. Like, hey, maybe I might need to get another job, or I might need to get a higher paying job, or get a side hustle that pays me a little bit more doing a side hustle, so I can do a little bit of that to balance off of that, just so, even if my other job is a stability type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the key things, want to kind of go over.
Right. So let me ask you, like, so what do you think is the best way for a person, because you do RKT appraisals. You teach people about money. So if you know about money, then you got to know something about time, because what's the old saying? Time is money, right?
Exactly.
So what are some important ways that people need to consider when we're looking at like the best ways to use our time?
I mean, the best way some things to consider when using the best ways to use your time is just really look at what's your daily routine. You know what I mean? Like, what's your daily routine? How can you save some time doing other things? And are you wasting time? I just tell people, like, just start off from, what does your day start off at? What time do you go to bed? What time do you wake up? You know what I mean? If you got to take the kids to school, what time you take them to school? How long does it take you to get there? Like, what time you cooking dinner? So it's really just looking at your life or what's your daily routine, what you have to do within that day. And then once you realize what you have to do within that day, you got to spread it out throughout the week. You know what I mean? Break it down into intervals. Because the truth is, think about it. If you go to bed at 12 o'clock at night, and then you got to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then you got to go to work it takes you an hour to get to work, so you get to work at 7. You know what I mean? But you leave a little bit early because you want to be late. So, say you got to be at work at 7:30. You lose a half an hour there because you got to get that extra time just in case the traffic or anything crazy happens. Then you work 7:30 to 3:30, 4 o'clock. Then you got to come home. Then you got to cook dinner. But if you want to work out, you got to put an hour into working out. You really start to look at your time and be like, yo, like, what am I doing with my time? Do I have time for X, Y, Z? Yeah. You know what I mean? In that particular situation, you look at it now, you might say, all right, maybe I need to get a new job with a different shift. You know what I mean? So I don't have to wake up as early. Or maybe I need to get a job that actually is closer, so I don't have to waste an hour and a half in commute time going one way and all this type of stuff. And that's huge. You know what I mean? So that's why I was really like looking at time is money, though, because think about it. In that situation, you wasting about 3 hours a day just commuting time. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of time. You could be actually use that time to make more money doing a side gig. Even just out of that 3 hours, a side gig for an hour, you know what I mean? That's not bad. You still gain an extra 10 hours a week you get back. And the extra hour you make another side income. So you're really utilizing your time to really get the most bang for your buck, not only just financially, but just on a regular life basis, a personal time for yourself.
Right. Yeah, time management is important, man. So I want to talk about leverage, right? So I looked up, leverage. I looked up leverage and time on Google, and it says time. So leverage is figuring out ways to, you put in less and you get more out of a situation, right? That's basically what leverage means. So in this article, it says time leverage. It says time leverage is achieving the biggest result with the least amount of effort. There are multiple strategies you can use to leverage time to increase productivity and create bigger results. Time leverage allows you to multiply the rate at which you can get things done. And a key component of time leverage is delegation. So what does that mean to you?
Yeah, everything you just said. Leveraging time to be more productive, so you gain more time back, because it is all about using your time wisely. Right. So I'll give you a perfect example with the business with RKT. So we do a lot of one-on-one credit repairs with people, with the team we have. But coming in the new year, 2022. We're actually doing courses now. Why? Because leveraging time. Instead of doing one-on-ones with people, setting aside half an hour to hour sessions, after the consultation, what we're doing is start doing courses, credit courses. So utilizing the time. So what that does now is create a course. It has all the information you get one-on-one, but it can reach way more people, and it saves us more time, so we can get to more people while at the same time it saves us time and save money at the same time, because you're not utilizing all that time just sitting down one-on-one, 10 appointments for a day. Instead of taking 10 hours, that one video can reach 10 people. You know what I mean? So you literally chop the time down 90%.
Right. And see, another thing too is, what you said is real key, because, instead of doing one-on-ones, then you could do a class, and that's basically one-on-ones with multiple people. And on top of that, if we leverage, you could leverage time using technology, right? Because what you said, I mean, shit, we're leveraging time right now as far as technology, right? Because for us if we was to come together, I'd have to travel to where you are, or you would have to travel to where I was for us to get on camera together and talk about the shit we talk about. But what are we doing? We're using a platform of StreamYard to create a presentation on YouTube where we are together digitally talking about a certain topic and bringing information to the viewer. You understand? So it's the same thing with what you just said as far as classes, because you could conduct those classes on Zoom or any other type of telecommunication platform that allows you to speak to people and present information to people and multiple people at the same time. You understand? So you could conduct the class and you don't have to leave your dwelling. You get what I'm saying? And the beautiful part of that is time, right? Because there's no commute. You don't have to go to the office or go to the place where you're conducting a class. You don't have to wait for the students or whoever to come to the building, come to the class to actually, be there. You understand? So there's a lot of different ways to leverage time. Like you said, you can do what you would do with one person with multiple people, and you could also use technology to increase productivity and leverage your time.
Mm-hmm.
You have any other ways in mind that you can increase productivity as far as leveraging time?
Yeah, just like going back to before we were talking about before, just organizing your day. I mean, you think about it's just simple as daily routine and just paying attention to the little things. So the little things add up. Those are little things that add up every minute, every second. It's something simple as if you're about to go to the movies or something like that. In all reality, if you pick peak times to go to the movie, what happens? You get stuck in traffic. So that means if you go to a movie at 5-6 o'clock on a Friday night, you already know that everybody's out and about that time. So that means that now it's going to take longer to get to the movies. You know what I mean? And then you watch the later movie, and it's still a peak time when you get out. So that means it's going to take you a little bit longer to get home. Versus you go on a non-peak time, you go on a random time, a Saturday morning at 11. I mean, it's not the funnest time, but my point is every little thing you can tweak time on. Every single thing you do on a daily basis, you can tweak time. From travel, from everything. I mean, literally anything from just daily routines of if you're going to school, and classes, setting certain times to study. Why? Because if you're in college and you're trying to study and you're studying late at night, your brain is not functioning at a high level. So therefore, you wasting 2-3 hours studying late at night and only really using about a half an hour at a time to be able to focus. Versus if you study while at peak times early in the morning when you first wake up, type of thing, that half an hour you get everything you need in a half an hour. Versus, like I said earlier on, using late at night 3 hours to get only use about half an hour out of that 3 hours of really paying attention and absorb all that information in there. Right. I mean, it's on every angle of life. I mean, from if you have kids and you got to cook dinner type of thing. I mean, you're picking them up from daycare and stuff like that. If you prep your meals, you save time versus just scrambling all over the place, coming in, pick a child up at 5:30, get home 6:30, start cooking. You run out of time because now you're trying to scramble to put them to bed, make food from doing everything. Whereas if you make time to prep meals in one setting on a Saturday, waste 3-4 hours of cooking, it saves you hours upon hours during the week where you don't have to do that. So literally every single thing that you do in your life, you can use time to save you money and save you time, because time is money any way you switch it around.
Right. Exactly. So I got this article here. It says 7 ways to leverage your time to increase your productivity. And, a few of the things in here is what we already talked about. But I'm gonna just give a rundown on what they said. So the first thing it says is to get it out of your head. It said, if it's in your head, chances are you're taking up valuable storage space that you could be using to get things done. Every time you think of a task, a to-do item, or an idea, write it down. Get it out of your head. Not only lets you focus your energy elsewhere rather than trying to remember things. It always helps you clear your mind so you'll be more effective when you do try to tackle the massive list of chores. So how do you feel about that idea about like writing things down? Because I mean, a lot of times we'll come up with an idea or we'll realize something that we have to do, and then by the end of the course of the day, we have so many other things to do that we'll actually forget it. So what do you do you utilize that, or what do you think as far as like writing things down?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look behind me, you see that little board back there, though. Like that's my board right there. I write everything down. Right. Everything down every day, all around that whole giant calendar is a little chalkboard. You know what I mean? Of things to do. And I come in this little office every day, at least 3 to 4 times a day, look at the board, make sure it's done, and then I also write stuff down, my other office space downstairs in the living room in a certain section. So I'm always seeing it. So like you said, everything that pops in my mind, I write it down. Like, I got to do this today. I got to do this today, and organize it through the week. So no, that's actually perfect because I do that. I write everything down because we can't remember everything. It's just human nature. It's too much going on all day, every day. You know what I mean? The mind's always going. So you got to get it out your head. So that's an excellent point.
Facts. And then so number 2, it says organize your day. So this has to do with what you were saying about, time management and scheduling and all that. So it says, do you go to work and just jump into all the work that's in front of you? It says, try this instead. It says, organize your day into chunks of time, 10, 15 minutes for emails, an hour for the large project due at the end of the month, so on and so forth. It says, focus on knocking out most important things on the list earlier in the day to increase your productivity. As the day draws to a close, the easier and shorter items on the list will require less effort, allowing you to de-stress at the same time. That's actually important. That's very important. Like, time management is important, but it also matters how you sequence shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the big important things, you try to do that early on where you have the most energy and you have the most clarity in your mind. And because as things start to wind down, if the things are hard to do, that's when you're going to start pushing shit back. Like, man, I got to do that shit tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I got to go pick up the kids. I got to go to the gym. I got this. I got to make some dinner. I got this. I got that. I got blah, 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 blah. I can't do that big project in the evening. Like if I ain't get to tackle it early in the morning, shit, it don't make sense. I got to do that shit tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So that's very important, man. That's very important. And you said you made a lot of great points about time management and scheduling your day. You got anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think that's an excellent point. Like you said, just to piggyback off, you just organize and knocking out the big tasks. Because if you knock out the big stuff, like you said, it's when you have the energy. So you knock out the big stuff, and it's going to take the most energy anyway. So it matches up perfectly. And then as you wind down the little stuff, because it's easier, you can wind down and get it done, and you're actually way more productive. Because let's look at the flip side. If you take care of all the little stuff early, it doesn't take you have all the energy. So it doesn't take that much energy to finish the little stuff. So you're going to bang little stuff out. And then as the day goes on, you winding down, the hard stuff become even harder,
right?
Because they're heavier, and so it's the reverse.
And that's not leverage. That's not leverage. Because you got to understand the big things. The reason why they big is because when you complete them, they'll actually have the most effect to your life and to your cash flow and your business and all the things that make the wheel go. You understand what I'm saying? But we all know it's easy to do the little shit, but there's a reason why it's easy to do the little shit. Because it's little shit. Because you take care of all the little shit, and it doesn't put a lot of money in your pocket to take care of the little shit. You understand? Like you got to pick up your dry cleaning, or you got to do some laundry, or you got to check on your emails or some shit. That's the little shit. I mean, sometimes them emails could be important. Shit, but you know what I'm saying? Like the little shit. Like, I got to pay a couple bills. I got to do. That's little shit, man. Because that's not putting money in your pocket. But that project that's due, your client is going to give you the other half of the fee when that project gets complete. So you got to put that hour, that chunk of time into that shit, because that the closer you get to completing it is the closer you get to getting the rest of that money. So you can use that money to continue operating your business. That shit is important. So that's real heavy. Making sure you do the big projects earlier in the day if possible, right? Because that's leverage. That's you taking care of the things that have more of an effect on your entire situation. You understand? Because truthfully, the little shit could get done at any time. You know what I'm saying? Because, with the advent of the internet and everything like that, nigga, you could take care of the little shit while you taking the shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can take care of the little shit anytime during the day. You can take care of the little shit on your commute, right? Like, especially if you commute in and you're above ground and you got access to Wi-Fi or whatever, or you got access to a signal, you could pay bills and do all that shit on your commute or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like let's just say you take an Uber between, from one place to another. While the Uber driver's driving, you could be in the back taking care of bills, answering emails, and doing all the little things that you're supposed to do. And that's how you leverage shit. You understand? That's how you leverage things, because you want to put the majority, the lion's share of that effort where it's supposed to be, where the big things that affect your bottom line really stand out. And that's where you want to put most of your effort, especially if you can earlier in the day. I mean, all of us have different types. Like, for example, I have a consultation tonight and the client scheduled it for 7 p.m. So I have no choice. You know what I'm saying? And that's how things work. But when you have control over your shit, try to take care of all the big projects early in the day. And that's another thing to consider too. Time management is important, right? Because you might have something huge, like a big project. Don't be afraid to break it into chunks day to day. You understand? Don't try to do everything one time, because let's face it. Like for example, me being a photographer, sometimes I'll have a project where shit, I got wedding photos I'm editing right now, and I have to break it down where I give a few hours a day to it each day. I can't sit there all day and do wedding pictures. I can't do 1,400 pictures in a day. You understand what I'm saying? I have to really break it up, because another thing too is certain things you give it an hour today, you give it an hour the next day, and an hour the following day. Remember, you're fresher in the earlier part of the day, so when you come back and you look at it again, there's a lot of things that you get to tweak to increase your efficiency and productivity, which also increases the amount of leverage that you're putting in for this time. You see what I'm saying? So that is very important that you don't try to do too much, and you don't try to murder the whole day on one project where you look, max 3-4 hours you give to that one project. And then after that 4-hour chunk is done, you move on to other things. You take care of the medium shit and the small shit, and then you finish out your day. And the next day you get to go attack it again and give it another big chunk. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, to piggyback off you, Miles, man, you brought up some great points, man, breaking things up and utilizing your downtime. Like you said, because downtime is key. Just like you said, honestly, for me personally, like whenever I'm driving to an appointment to do any other thing, that's when I make a lot of calls. All the calls I need to make to people while I'm driving, I know I can make those calls.
Hands free.
Hands free.
Like,
you know what I mean? But that's the point, though.
You Alexa, call this nigga. Like, you feel me?
Exactly. And like literally driving during that time, that's when I make all my calls, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and like you said, just having a little downtime. You know, when I get done with that major project and I have a little downtime, I might send a quick email. I might jump into someone's credit report real quick just to do a quick pop-in, just a quick check-in. Like you said, just really utilizing your downtime to do little things, and you still get to enjoy your full time. And like you said, break things up into intervals. Breaking things up into intervals is huge, because you can literally be in a situation where, you do 2 hours of this, an hour on this, a half an hour on this, it all adds up, and it all keeps you focused, because you're not dedicating, like you said, 5-6 hours to one thing, because you get burnt out, which you don't want to do, because if you burn yourself out, you're really not utilizing your time. And like you said, you're losing efficiency, because if you burnt out, you're just kind of halfway doing stuff. It's not getting done properly, which means that if you don't do it proper the first time, it means you're going to have to do it the second time, which you wasted more time because you didn't do it right the first time, because you just burnt out because you didn't use your time wisely.
Exactly.
So that's definitely a lot of good points you touched on.
Facts. And then so the third one they got here, it says use other people's time. Mm-hmm. Use other people's time. So that had to do with the part up top where I first started talking about delegation. Mm-hmm. Understand? Delegating, right? It says leveraging other people means empowering and allowing coworkers and employees or even outsourced help to help you with some of your routine tasks throughout the day. If you run a website, consider hiring somebody to maintain the server, sites, comments, and emails. Or if you got a social media platform, have somebody run your social media, have them answer the comments or engage your public or whatever. Like, so, that's very important. That's leveraging. That's using money to leverage time, right? Because you got to pay somebody to, outsource this, or, like I think we talked about it before where we was like, look, like, because if you're working on a big project, right, that big project, if you finish it, that project at the end of the month going to bring you $10,000, right? Mm-hmm. So, but at the same time, you own a house and you got to mow the lawn. Like, nigga, don't mow your lawn. Like, pay somebody to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because what depending on the size of your lawn, what is it going to cost you? Anywhere from $10 to $30 to get it mowed, right?
Yeah.
You pay that $10 to $30, you get it mowed once a week, so that's like the most, that's like $120 for the month. But like I said, that gives you more time, because it takes like about a good hour to mow a good lawn, right? So that's the hour that you could put towards that project. That's bringing you $10,000 by the end of the month once you finish it. You see what I'm saying? So what's $10,000 to the 120 that you spending to get your lawn mowed? Not to mention mowing the lawn. If it's a hot day, you're gonna be tired as shit, and you're not gonna want to finish that project that you're supposed to finish. That's gonna bring you to $10,000. You understand? So and I've always said this. Like a lot of times, it could get very expensive if you try to be cheap. You know what I'm saying? Being cheap could get very expensive. So we gotta consider and be like, look, sometimes we gotta hire other people to do shit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we got to let other people help us out with the task that we have at hand, because that's how you use that time. You use other people's time to leverage your situation. You know what I'm saying? You want to add anything?
Yeah, no. That's a perfect example right there. Because with everyday life, like you said, whether you're working, whether you're an entrepreneur with a business, whether you're doing a combination of both, like you said, you have daily routines and things in life where you got to leverage. And that was a perfect example, because I give you the example of my own self. I mean, when last year, when I first got the house, whatever the case was, you know what I mean? I didn't make time to clean up the leaves in the backyard. You know what I mean? And I try to do it all at once, like you said, trying to overdo too much in the project. So I negated doing my responsibilities as far as the yard, and then I let it pile up. Then I tried to do it all at once. Couldn't finish it all at once. It was just too much. Right. And then I left 3 giant piles of leaves on my backyard lawn. Following this previous spring, of course, those leaves burnt out, giant patches in my yard. So what did I have to do? I had to go ahead and buy new products. You know what I mean? I had to buy a side and put all this stuff down to get my grass back what it used to be. But like you said, I was being cheap as well, because I should have paid somebody to kind of in between, you know what I mean, rake my leaves and blow my leaves, but I was being cheap. But in the end, it ended up costing me like $1,000 trying to get my backyard back to normal. You know what I mean? So to your point, now I kind of do a hybrid thing. Like, for example, that's why it was a perfect example with the blowing the leaves. I'll pay somebody to do it, 1 week, and then I'll do it 1 week. I'll pay somebody 1 week, do 1 week. So I'm mixing over time and money, because if in all reality, you can pay everybody to do everything. So if it gets carried away, you'd be paying everybody. But having that healthy balance of, like you said, leveraging time and money of when you can and can't do something and mixing it up. So that was actually a perfect example, because I went through that same thing.
Facts. All right. So it says, focus on the prize, but work in chunks. So it says, don't let the looming pressures of finishing the massive report get you down. Focus on how awesome it is, or how awesome it will be, but actively seek to chunk it into manageable parts so you can work steadily. So it's basically the same thing we were saying, like, do a few hours a day, and you know what I'm saying? And then next one says allow time for yourself. So like you was talking about earlier about, make sure you take time to live your life, like, you know what I'm saying? Because you gotta, and that's why time management is so important, because as you start to divvy up your time, you have to put time in there for yourself, for self-care, but going to the gym, for your health. You got to take a walk sometime. You got to hang out with see your friends, hang out with your loved ones, things like that. It's very important. You know what I'm saying? And then it says use technology, which is what we was talking about before, about like using Zoom, so you could kill the time drain of commute. And so it's let me read what it says. It says technology is an evil temptress for productivity. It says it can suck us in with the promise of simple task management planning and keep us in the loop, but we can easily get caught in the vortex of more and more tech, right? So it says use Simple Task Manager if it suits your work style, but give yourself limits on social networking sites, checking emails, and even text messaging. Ironically, there are really cool apps and software packages that help you increase your productivity. So be careful and mindful of how you're leveraging their help. So technology sometimes can be too convenient, where we fall into the convenience and the entertainment part of it. You know what I'm saying? Social media, emails, communicating with people. Like I just caught one of those Oculus joints with the VR shit.
Virtual reality joint.
Bro, it's bad. I'm already looking at it like this is bad. This is bad business, because the games and is really cool shit. Like, all the virtual reality shit that you could do, and you could watch YouTube. They got Netflix on there where they make it look like you're at the movie theater. You understand? When you put the things on, you're looking through the thing and it looks like you're at a fucking movie theater because the screen is big as shit in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Bro. So it's really dope shit. You understand? And you could do shit where you could like if you could schedule time to watch movies with friends and shit like that. So it could drain your time. So you got to be careful with technology, but at the same time, you got to also know and pick and choose which kinds of technology could actually, help your productivity. Like I was saying, with using Zoom, using scheduling apps, and using your memo and your memo pad and your phone to write things down and all that type of shit, man. It makes a difference. Really makes a difference. And number 7, it says keep learning. It says the day you stop learning is the day you stop producing good stuff. Keep reading, trying new things, implementing them. To leverage your ability to read, start listening to audio books in the car to and from work and during workout. Stay tuned with your favorite blogs and news sites for a few times a week, but don't let them bog you down during the day. So keep learning. Information is key. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge is key. Like, keep coming back to us and supporting this show. You know what I'm saying? For those of you who appreciate y'all, go to RKT Appraisal, you know what I'm saying? Because they'll provide a lot of great information for you as well. You know what I mean? So, there's a lot of, so you got to look at what your time is really worth. You got to know how to leverage it. You got to know how to make the best decisions, to manage and leverage your time, get the most out of your time with the least amount of effort. But also keep in mind, this is the last show for 2021. So we really appreciate everybody that supports the show and checks in, and all y'all do is that be hanging out in the chat with us. Really appreciate y'all. Anything else you want to say, Rashidi, before we go?
Yeah, man. I just say, respect time. That's my final thing. Just respect time, because if you don't respect time, you don't respect yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's my last message. And like you said, definitely appreciate everybody tuning into the show. Supporting the businesses, supporting our platforms. We definitely appreciate it, and just want to continue it going on into New Year 2022. You know what I mean?
Facts. Appreciate y'all, man. So happy New Year to everybody. Y'all be good. You know what I'm saying? And this is it, man. And always remember, the truth is inside you. Get your money up all the time. All right. Peace.